This is the story that has me fired up tonight. As we head into the holiday season, special time for Americans. Should point out that millions of Americans in need just got stiffed by the Republican Scrooges in Congress. A bill to extend unemployment benefits fell short of the two-thirds margin needed to pass the House. The vote today was 258 to 154. Now, what this means is that at least 2 million more Americans will join the ranks of the 99ers by the end of 2010. The White House pounced on the Republicans for sticking it to the unemployed while they fight to let millionaires have more tax cuts. Robert Gibbs, rightfully so, put it this way: I don't think we want to leave here having fought for tax cuts for millionaires and against unemployment insurance for those who have lost their jobs. Makes pretty much common sense, doesn't it? Well, Republicans love to talk about what the American people want, but they really don't have a clue operationally, do they? Incoming Speaker, Mr. Boehner, I think you ought to down that glass of Merlot and pay attention to this one. According to a new poll from the National Employment Law Project, 73% of voters, 73% of Americans that the Republicans like to quote, say it's too early to cut back benefits for the unemployed in America. Overall, 60% support an extension versus 37% who are opposed. Now, the American people clearly want to help their neighbors in need, but the Republicans, do you think they're listening? Hell no. Elected Republicans have absolutely no idea what it's like to go hungry or to go without a roof over your head. So just who are these rich folks that don't care? The average weekly unemployment benefit is just $310 a week. Pretty much chump change to the suits in Washington, isn't it? Because according to the Center for Responsive Politics, let's see, the Tan Man, the guy who's leading the charge on this, well, he's worth $3.6 million. Ooh, Cantor, he's up there at $4.9 million. Mitch McConnell is at $19.9 million in the Senate. That's what he's worth. And my buddy Darrell Issa, he's worth a cool $303 million. These are the people who are making the decisions on the unemployed in this country. Are they selfish? You make the call. The selfish lawmakers, in my opinion, the Republican Party, they couldn't have picked a worse time to turn their backs on fellow Americans. 1 week from tonight, Americans will be enjoying Thanksgiving. It's a special time of year, and the Republican Party has just given millions of jobless Americans very little to be thankful for. You know, I've said it before, they're heartless, they're clueless, but now they are really cruel, self-centered, and un-American to treat unemployed Americans like roadkill. So I guess what I have said on this program in the 20 months of being here on MSNBC with the Ed Show, I guess we could say it's been validated tonight. Do you know that we have never done this? We have never had unemployment this high in America and denied benefits to unemployed people. This is new territory for America. This is your heartless lawmakers at work. When it comes to unemployed Americans, when it comes to Americans who are on the verge of getting together as family as we go to the holiday season, where are they? They're nowhere to be found for their neighbor. They are heartless and they are cruel. And they are fighting at the same hour for tax cuts for the top 2%. And we have an income disparity in this country that has never been this great since the Great Depression. The graphics that have been shown on Rachel's show are pretty compelling. So where do you stand as an American tonight? How do you feel about this? Is this fair? These people pay insurance. It's unemployment insurance. These are economic times that we haven't seen since the Great Depression. They can't do it. They wouldn't do it. So 2 million more Americans are going to be sitting at the dinner table with nothing on it. You see, this is a kitchen table issue that the Republicans don't care about, because now that they've had the Supreme Court rule in their favor when it comes to unlimited corporate money into their back pockets and into their special interest groups to nail people that they don't like politically, hell, they don't care about the unemployed. These folks don't give to campaigns. They're not going to help any Republican get reelected. There's no sense in helping these folks out. We know they're Americans, and we know they used to have a job and they used to pay taxes, but hell, they don't matter now. We got to worry about the deficit, because you know there's 4% of the American people that are really concerned about that. This is political grandstanding. at the expense of a lot of Americans who are going to be hurting. Political grandstanding from the standpoint that, hey, we want to be the party of fiscal responsibility, so let's stick it to the Americans who have lost their jobs. You know, the people that we outsourced? They are cruel and they are heartless, and I can't say it enough. And you millionaires in the Congress, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You are un-American.
You know what is mystifying to me, and maybe you can clear it up, maybe you can clear it up, maybe someone can clear it up. Why do you figure this president and this particular White House staff has not made more of the unemployed in this country and linking them to the request for the extension of the tax cuts?
I'll tell you what, if I were a Democrat running the White House, all I would be saying every day is Republicans want to cut off unemployment benefits for the neediest Americans, working class Americans, while giving tax cuts to millionaires. That one is so easy. That one is so easy that all I would do today, when I had Republicans at the White House, I would just say, okay, guys, help me out here, because I'm trying to figure this out. This whole new Republican wave is great. I love it. This is exciting. This is what James Madison. All right, so
here's your time,
you guys educate me. I need you to educate me. Tell me, because I don't think I get this right. You want to you want to cut off unemployment benefits.
Right.
Because it makes people lazy.
Because it makes people lazy for 10% of Americans. And, and the second thing you want to do is you want to extend tax breaks for millionaires. Did I get that right? Because just talk to me like I'm a fourth grader. Because I don't understand. Why doesn't he do that?
Congressman Istok, the optics seem bad for the GOP, refusing to extend unemployment benefits on one hand, but wanting to extend the Bush tax cuts for the upper 2% on the other. Defend that discrepancy if it is one.
This is the story that has me fired up tonight. Now, we're in the midst of record unemployment, 2 wars that we haven't figured out how we're going to pay for, and a financial mess, an economy that's struggling. Mitch McConnell and John Boehner, well, they decided to diss the president. Apparently, they're just too busy to get on over to the White House for dinner. It took them 2 weeks to figure that out. Boehner and McConnell said that they couldn't meet with the president this Thursday night due to scheduling conflicts in organizing their caucuses. They just have to teach everybody how to say no all over again. I think that is complete garbage. Now, traditionally, when the President of the United States invites you to the White House and gives you a 2-week notice, you normally show up. In my opinion, it is obvious that McConnell and Boehner are just trying to stick it to the president one more time to prove a point. Now, the White House summit has been moved to November 30th, which happens to be the same day that 800,000 Americans will lose their unemployment benefits. And by the end of the year, that number will be 2 million. Just adding to the pile of Americans who are in the unemployment line right now. McConnell and the Tan Man don't have enough respect for the president to look him in the eye at a meeting ASAP and explain why the Republicans don't want to help these Americans. So we see the midterms were just a snapshot in time, but the Republicans are acting like they've got some unbelievable mandate from the people. Well, McConnell and Boehner are obviously trying to run the clock out of the Democratic majority, and if they can drag this thing out long enough, the Republicans will be able to kill just about any progress Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid can make during this lame duck session. How in the hell are they ever going to come to a compromise on the tax cut policies that were put in place by the Bush administration? I want Democrats to call their bluff. Just let this tax policy ride itself out. Just let it sunset. Put McConnell and Boehner and the righties in charge of the next move of the economy. Because if the Democrats sign on to this, they're going to be tagged along with it. See, you didn't go far enough, and it's your fault, too. So I think it's time for the Democrats just sit back and be patient on this one. Let their tax policy expire. Let them have the next move on the economy. So if the Republicans think that the tax cuts to the top 2% are really going to turn things around, prove it again. It won't, and the Democrats will have a better shot in 2012. Now, the president ought to go through this one with a fine-tooth comb. Now, the plan, he should be happy with the fact that they're having a vote. A vote like this will be a good maneuver because it would, of course, expose the Republicans for who they really are. But hold it right there. Don't be getting into this 3, 4, 5 votes kind of thing just because some folks over on the right might not be happy if the super rich aren't getting exactly what they want. The super rich, they're always in the game. Just remember that. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is stuck on making all the Bush tax cuts absolutely permanent. Here it is.
The American people spoke loudly and clearly on Election Day. They want us to put aside the liberal wish list, and that's why I offered a bill back in September, S-3773, that would make current tax rates permanent.
Did you hear that? Liberal wish list. It's a liberal wish list to cut a break to the middle class in this country. That's how they think. It's their DNA. It's who they are. They are, ready and willing to vote against tax cuts for the 98% of the American people. Are Mitch McConnell and John Boehner, who talk about this is what the American people want, they've spoken, are they ready to go against helping 98% of the population out just because their 2% country clubbers wouldn't get a tax break? And the answer to that is, hell yeah.
They've lost their jobs, they've lost their homes, their kids can't go to school, and the notion that these politicians should hang out and play around like schoolyard bullies, it really boggles the mind. And can you imagine a year ago or 2 years ago having this conversation about elected officials absolutely refusing to meet with the President of the United States because they're too busy? What I'd love to see is that several million unemployed people calling them and tell them, we're not too busy and we're calling you to tell you, do your damn job, meet with the President, and focus on us.
I'll tell you another vote that we need, and that is to extend unemployment insurance benefits, Ed. We can't forget that. And it's not just good for those people, millions of people who are about to lose their unemployment, but it's good for our economy. There is nothing more stimulative than putting unemployment insurance in people's pockets so that they can go out and spend that money, which they will right away.
Unemployment benefits in this country end today.
Right.
No extension.
No extension at all. And in Nevada, unemployment's like at 15%.
Right.
Real unemployment, we're closer to 20%.
People are hurting.
I think people are hurting bad.
Badly.
So they're looking to Washington, D.C. because they believe now is the time.
For leadership.
Look no further. For the leadership. When Kennedy was faced with a crisis, he went on TV, right?
Good evening, Americans, and welcome to the Ed Show tonight from New York. These stories are hitting my hot buttons at this hour. They're rich and they're selfish. Republicans, they just decided to cut off unemployment benefits for thousands of desperate American families. What they did today is un-American and shameful. Now, the 99ers are upset with our next guest, Congressman Jim McDermott. He is the chairman of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee on Income Security and Family Support. He introduced the bill to extend unemployment benefits. Congressman Jim McDermott, back to the unemployment story that we started with tonight. You know my passion for it. I've been hard on the Republicans, and now it's been absolutely validated. This is who they are. We have never done this in the history of this country with the unemployment this high, to deny Americans and to do it on the verge of the holiday season. What's your response to the vote today?
Well, you're absolutely right. In the 75-year history of unemployment insurance since the act in 1935, we have never denied benefits to people when unemployment was at this level. And your commentary said it all, really. I don't understand how people can say no to unemployment benefits and turn around in a week or so and be crying and whinging around on the floor saying, oh, we have to give these tax breaks to people who make more than $250,000 a year. I mean, it is absolutely insane, if you're going to have a just society, that the people on the top keep getting more and the people on the bottom, you say, hey, too bad. You've been out 2 years. We paid you 2 years of benefits. You're done. That's simply not the American way. We have never treated people in this society that way.
And this vote today definitely tells the 99ers that there's no hope for them, because if there's not going to be another vote on this and you're going to have the House is going to be controlled by the Republicans who voted like this pretty much permanently slams the door on the long-time unemployed, doesn't it?
Well, Ed, I'm not quite sure, because I think those people are watching your show and watching the news tonight, and the Senate is going to be saying, hey, maybe we should do something. If you're going to give $700 billion to people on the top and you're going to give $14 billion to the people on the bottom, that just simply makes it more unfair. And that's exactly what's been going on for the last 10 years. To do more of it today would make no sense at all.
What's the opportunity for Republicans?
Well, I think the opportunity is there for Republicans and Democrats to work together.